Have you ever wanted to make a unique wooden box that looks like it came straight from a fine craft show? In this video, I'll show you step by step how to build a half-round box with smooth sliding drawers. We'll combine maple and Purpleheart for a beautiful contrast, and I'll share tips to get perfect cuts and snug fits every time. Stick around. By the end, you'll see how a few layers of wood can transform into a stunning box you'll be proud to display or give as a gift. Before we get started, I just want to thank all of you. This channel just passed 2,000 subscribers. I really appreciate your support, your comments, and the fact that you're enjoying these projects as much as I enjoy making them. If you're new here, I'd love to have you join this growing woodworking community. Just hit that subscribe button. This pattern originates from Steve Good, and I'll include a link to his website and instructions on how to find the pattern in the description. Steve showed the box in contrasting colors, and I liked the look, so I decided to make this box in two different woods. I'm using soft maple for the main part of the box and Purpleheart for the front and back. I had a piece of maple long enough to lay out the three main pieces, but cutting out details on a piece that long is awkward, so I used my bandsaw to cut the long piece into three sections. Pilot holes are needed to cut the drawer spaces out of each section, and I made them over at my drill press. As almost always, I started with the interior cuts. Since the wood is 3/4 maple and the cuts are simple, I'm using a number 9 Pegasus modified geometry blade. I tend to choose the largest blade I can for each task, but my choice is only a suggestion. If a smaller blade suits your cutting style better, use the size that works the best for you. From the pilot hole, I cut straight across the top of the upper drawer space, and once I reached the other side, I followed the cut line partway down the side, making a curved corner at the bottom, and then followed the line across, made another curved corner, and then made the short vertical cut up to the starting point at the pilot hole. This created the waste piece that I then removed and tossed into the scrap basket near the scroll saw. I did the same for the bottom drawer, and then I went back and made the cuts that would produce the main part of each drawer. I recommend making these cuts in this order because if you cut the outline for the drawer first, then cut out the waste part, you'll be cutting out a very small part, removing more wood than you'll be leaving behind, and doing the cut that way risks breaking a thin part as well as working with your fingers uncomfortably close to the blade. With the interior cuts complete, I can now make the half-circle exterior cut. This is an easy cut, but don't let that lull you into getting sloppy. We'll be making a total of 3 parts exactly like this one, and after they're complete, they'll be glued together face to face. What is now the outside cut will become the top surface of the box. Any imperfections in the outside cuts to these half circles will translate into flaws in the top and sides of the box, and they'll be quite noticeable. Take your time and let the blade do the work. I'm sure you've heard me say that before, and I guarantee I'll say it again. There was no point in showing me cutting all 3 identical assemblies, and here I just completed the third. I lined up the 3 main sections, and they look good. I don't think any more than minor sanding will be needed after they're glued together. I then aligned the parts for each of the drawers as well, and they also appeared to fit together almost flawlessly to form the bottom and sides of the drawers. The remaining parts will be cut from 1/4-inch Purpleheart, so I switched to a number 3 Pegasus modified geometry blade. I made an exception to my usual cutting sequence rule and made the exterior cut first. Although this material is only 1/4 inch thick, it's very hard, so I'm not concerned about weakening the material. Once again, I'm taking my time and doing my best to follow the line closely. These 2 pieces will provide the front and back to the box, so I want their shapes to match closely to avoid a lot of sanding later. When I was cutting the maple, each drawer opening was made with 2 cuts. The first removed the waste, and the second created the piece that formed the sides and bottom of the drawer. I think it's a rather clever way of creating the drawers with only a few cuts. This Purpleheart piece has 2 interior cuts, each of which creates a place on the front of the box into which one of the drawer assemblies will fit. For each cut, I started at the pilot hole and then carefully followed the line around all 4 sides because I want the drawers to fit snugly into the box. So here's a sneak peek at what the box is going to look like. There's a 1/4-inch Purpleheart front, 3 3/4-inch maple box sections, and then a 1/4-inch Purpleheart back. It's coming along nicely. I'm not going to show myself cutting the back because the shape is identical to the front, except there are no cutouts for the drawers to fit through. The only parts left are the drawer fronts and backs, all cut from 1/4-inch Purpleheart, and the drawer pulls. I'll likely make them from maple for contrast. The drawer fronts will be glued onto the front of the drawers, where else, and they totally overlap the top, bottom, and sides of the drawer. The 3 identical maple sections will be glued together back to front to give the drawer the proper depth. The drawer back is smaller than the front because it fits inside the drawer. I immediately tried dry fitting the back and it fits snugly. With a tiny bit of glue added around the edges, this will be a perfect fit. There are several patterns for the drawer pulls included in the plans, and I'll assemble the box and drawers first. Then I'll decide which shape looks best, as well as what material to cut them from. This assembly is straightforward. It's simply a matter of gluing and clamping layers together. I squeezed a bead of glue onto the rear of the back maple layer, used a fingertip to spread it out evenly, and then placed the piece on the Purpleheart back. I carefully aligned the straight bottom and curved top and sides. Next, I added glue to the top of the layer that I just added to the stack, and I again used my fingertip to spread the glue evenly. Once that was done, I added the next maple layer. You can, of course, use a brush to spread the glue if you prefer. I'm using a water-based white glue for this project, which cleans up easily with soap and water. After adding the third maple layer in the same manner, I spread glue on the top and added the Purpleheart front to the box. Once I felt the alignment of all the layers looked good, I picked up the box and placed the bottom edge into the vise on the end of my workbench. I tightened it up and then felt along the edge to ensure the sides of the layers were aligned closely. I completed the process with 3 F-clamps. This brings me to the drawers. The back of the drawer slips inside the part cut for the bottom and sides. This is one of those places where accurate cutting is crucial, because if the back is too large, it won't fit into the space it needs to occupy. If it's too small, there won't be proper contact, and there will either be unsightly gaps or the back will be too loose a fit to work at all, and it will have to be remade. I did a good job on the cutting, and this is what I would like to call a Goldilocks fit, just right. I set that last section on its back so I could stack and glue the other 2 sections and the front on top of it. These are small pieces, so a glue applicator with a tiny tip comes in handy. I'm using an Elmer's School glue bottle. Once the original supply of glue was exhausted, I unscrewed the top and refilled the container from a gallon bottle of white glue. This system provides me with glue at an economical price, combined with an applicator that can be used in the smallest of spaces. This box and drawers will need some sanding before they can be finished. I'm all geared up for this with my safety glasses, RZ dust mask, and hearing protection. The dust collection on this Bauer disc sander is fairly efficient, but when I'm doing this much sanding, the dust mask is not optional. The sander's not that noisy, but the shop vac is, so hearing protection is mandatory. The sander is located on a workstation attached to one of the shop walls, so the lighting's not ideal for recording, but it is more than sufficient for sanding. I started with the bottom of the box. The 3 sections, plus front and back, were aligned well, but not perfectly. This disc sander will correct that quickly. The disc sander is relatively safe as long as you remember it's rotating counterclockwise, or anti-clockwise as they say in the UK, and you stay on the left side of the disc. Then the disc pushes the workpiece down against the table. After a few passes on the bottom, I next took care of the rounded portion. For that, I needed to remember to keep the workpiece moving, or I'd risk leaving flat spots. The 2 drawers took the most time. They're small, and I needed to be careful not to take off too much material at a time. I sanded a bit, turned around to check for fit inside the box, and then sanded a bit more. I had to remove more material from the drawers than I had initially estimated, but I believe this was due to some irregularities within the box that surrounded the drawers. I needed to sand the drawers until they slid in and out smoothly. It took about 10 minutes to get the drawers sanded to my satisfaction. I finished this box with several coats of Minwax warm satin spray polyurethane. I'm not totally sure why, but I think I could be happy making nothing but boxes all day long in my workshop. This finished product is at least a partial answer to that question. A couple of hours in the shop produces a beautiful, functional project. I love the contrast between the white maple and the dark Purpleheart. If you choose to make one of these boxes, what woods will you choose? As always, I welcome your comments and I reply to everyone. Until the next project is ready, links to 2 suggested videos to watch are displayed on the screen. And once again, thank you for helping me to reach 2,000 subscribers.